Hi guys, and welcome to the second episode of Beach Fishing Antics. Firstly, big thank you to everybody who's watched my first video, beach fishing down at Dungeness at the end of December, and those who have commented and subscribed to the channel. It's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully I'll have lots more videos to put up over the coming months. I don't get to fish as often as I'd like to, but I'll certainly make the effort to get out there and make as many films as I can for you guys. This one's just a short one, a review of the Tronix Pro beach trolley. I was looking for something that was going to help me carry all my gear. I do tend to fish a bit heavy. By the time you've kind of got your rods and your shelter and your tripod, and all your weights in your Shakespeare box and whatever, I do tend to just bung everything in and take everything with me. I don't know why. Frankly, I'm going to need to think about that because it's becoming agony. But I'm getting older, and so I kind of asked my wife for Christmas for a beach trolley. Went for the Tronix Pro one because it was the only one that had the nice big tyres. I just get down here. There we go. You can see the width of those things. Absolutely enormous. So obviously when you're going across shingle and soft sand, you don't want the thing bedding down. That's not going to do you any good whatsoever. As far as I can make out, the only one available, the only trolley available with these big balloon tyres is the Tronix Pro. Apparently there used to be one called an Oompa Loompa, which I think came from America. Doesn't seem to be available anymore, and when it was fabulously expensive. Well over £200, you're pushing £300. This one retails at $149.99, but I've just had a look online and you can pick it up for as little as $114.99, so saving us £35 on the retail price. So that's not a bad price, really. The weight that the thing will carry, max load stated, is 55 kilograms. On my recent fishing trip down to Dungeness, first time I've ever used the trolley, just after Christmas, I thought I pretty much maxed it out. I've just had a go at kind of weighing all of the stuff pretty much that I was carrying, and it comes to around about 50 kilos. So I was pretty much at the top end. I certainly wouldn't want to carry any more weight on there. Not least because the terrain at Dungeness meant that I had to go up and down a couple of valleys. It does come up on a little bit of video, which I'll try and show now. But that really doesn't show the depth of the valleys. Somewhere around about 8 foot, going down and then up and then down another one and then up another one. And trying to lug about 50 kilos on any kind of a trolley up and down a shingle beach when you've been fishing for 12 hours and you're exhausted, not much fun. But the trolley coped. And I think my initial impressions were pretty good. This is what I thought about it straight away. Right, so there we go. That's the end of that session. It is now 3:30 in the morning. It's taken me over an hour to pack up. I really need to think very carefully about the amount of stuff I take with me, because there's no end of stuff I don't use. And if I'm going to carry camera stuff as well, that weighed a bloody ton coming back on that trolley. But the trolley coped. Those wheels didn't sink into the shingle. And although it was extraordinarily hard work, there's kind of valleys that you have to kind of climb down and then back up again, twice, in fact, 2 valleys, to go and get to the fishing spot. It's an awful lot easier on the flat, but it coped. It did it. It was certainly easier than carrying everything. It would have been multiple trips. So from that point of view, the Tronix Pro trolley works pretty well. Okay guys, so they were my kind of initial thoughts. Very tired from lugging that thing up and down, but a hell of a lot easier than carrying everything. I'd have had to have made multiple trips, and it was a fair way back to the car, so that would have been a nightmare. So the trolley was a godsend, and it certainly did what it was supposed to do. Let's just have a look at essentially how it comes. I try and do this without tripping over my sound cable. Okay, so basically when it came originally, the actual axle piece here was not in this bit. You just slide it through and there's just one bolt that retains it, and it's as simple as that. The rest of the unit comes pretty much as is. I think I probably had to slide the handle in, or did I? No, it's actually got a retaining pin, so I can't have done. So essentially, to put it together, really straightforward. The tyres themselves don't come blown up. It gives you a pressure range of 2 to 4 psi. That's actually pretty low. It's quite difficult to gauge that. Ironically, one of my other Christmas presents from my mother-in-law was a tyre gauge. The problem was that it's not supposed to register below 5 psi. It did eventually. After I'd pumped these up with a foot pump, I managed to get a reading off them, and I had both of them at pretty much bang on 3.5 psi. So that was pretty good. I don't know how well you can see that, but essentially they're pumped up. If you kind of put your thumbs on there, not too much pressure, they'll go in. So there's a reasonable amount of kind of springiness to the tyres themselves. They are quite bulky though, so they are going to take up a fair bit of room. But then thin tyres, absolutely no use on a beach. So basically all you have to do is you just remove these pins on either side. Good idea to keep them in there when the wheels are off, just so that you don't lose them. Simply slide the wheel on. That pin goes back through the hole. You can see what I'm doing, and that just springs over there, and then that's locked. Simple as that. No nuts and bolts needed. Let's just put the other side on. I'm actually having to do this in my dining room because I kept waiting for some halfway decent weather to do this in the back garden, but that weather never came, or certainly not when I was available to do any filming, so I've had to just think, what the hell, I'll do it indoors. So there you go. Nice and easy. Presumably a good idea. Essentially, that's the kind of upright position. Good idea to put those in from the top. That way, even if that does spring open, that's not going to fall out. And then essentially all you do, that bit just slides down. And that's what you put your bits and bobs on. You've just got a retaining clip there. And there we go. That's up and running. And then you just put everything on here. Now, as I say, max weight on that, 55 kilos. I had around about 50 kilos on there. And that was more than enough. I don't think I would want to put any more weight on there. For the simple reason, not that the trolley couldn't cope with it. The problem is I don't think I could pull it. Certainly not over any kind of rough terrain. But it does work extremely well. As I intimated, there is one issue that I kind of have with it, and that's the kind of build quality. For the amount of money that this costs, I would have expected that this bit here would be powder coated rather than painted. It has been painted, and unfortunately, right from the word go, I don't know how well you can see that on there, but you can see the paint is already coming off, and just flick it off like that. So yeah, the paint's already flaking, and there's kind of rust showing underneath. And it's only been used once. So, so frankly, powder coating would have been a much better idea. I'd be almost tempted to take the thing apart and actually take it to a powder coaters and get that done. But I think probably the easiest thing to do would just be to get some Hamrite or something and touch it up with some Hamrite. I think that's by far going to be the easiest thing to do, and try and prevent any kind of further problems. Most of the paintwork seems to be all right, but clearly, you know, they've had issues here. They haven't primed some of the frame properly, you know, and it's already bubbling, and it certainly shouldn't be doing that. Not for the amount of money that it cost. But there you go. That's kind of, you know, it's sortable. It's not the end of the world. It can be resolved. I mean, I suppose in theory I could send it back, but that's just, frankly, a pain in the backside, isn't it? It's a pretty bulky thing. It's a big box. I don't want the aggravation. I'd rather just buy a tin of Hamrite and spray it up. But other than that, I have to say I'm pretty pleased. It was certainly an awful lot easier than carrying all the gear. You know, and the axle and everything, you know, as far as kind of being able to carry the weight, the balloon tyres coped with the shingle, absolutely no problem at all. So yeah, all in all, a good purchase. Just the kind of paint job on it, not terribly brilliant. But yeah, not disappointed. Does the job. You know, and if you can pick it up for just over £100, I don't think that's too bad at all. Okay, so that about wraps that up from me. Hopefully I'll get another video out to you soon. I've got a bit of an idea. I want to have a look at the Breakaway Cannons. That was another thing that I used for the first time on that Dungeness fishing session. Seemed to work really, really well. Found them really comfortable. A lot less mucking around. Don't have to worry about a finger stall and all the rest of it. The main issue I have with I don't want to do the review absolutely yet, for the simple reason that most of the fishing I did on that session was at night. So it's a bit hard for me to kind of judge how the kind of lead was flying away and all the rest of it, because obviously I couldn't see it. So what I'm going to try and do is, even if push comes to the shove, get onto some open ground. We've got a West Common right next door to our house. So I'll try and get out there, try and film some actual casting with it, even if it's on a field rather than at sea. And what I'll try and do is get some kind of high-speed footage of that close up, if at all possible, so that you can actually see that flying away. But my initial thoughts on that were, yeah, it seemed to work really, really well. But I'll hang fire on that review until I've got a little bit more coverage than I can put on it. But as far as the Tronix Pro beach trolley goes, yeah, not bad. About 4 out of 5 stars, I'd say. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. See you soon. Take care.